Welcome to your gentle session. I think we're all feeling a little bit wound up at the moment with everything that is going on in our world. So we're going to spend this time now unwinding the body, unwinding the mind. Hope you enjoy. In our session today, if you have a belt, please grab that. If you don't have a yoga one, you can use like the belt from your dressing gown. That would be fine. A bolster or a pillow for under your knees will be helpful. And also if you have a block, grab that. Otherwise a little cushion just for particularly one of the shapes that we're making today. I like to have something soft under my knees. I've got my little knee pad, but you might like a towel or a little blanket or something if that is going to make your knees feel a little bit more comfortable in our class. I wanted to finish our session today with a little breathing practice as well. Rather than a relaxation where we're lying down, we're going to finish it seated, however you want to position yourself, whether that's in a chair or on the mat, and do a little breathing practice that will really help us unwind, settle the nervous system right down. Let's begin then. We'll come onto the back. Let's start with the bolster underneath your legs. Dropping your knees apart and finding a little space between your feet. Resting one hand on the tummy and one hand closer to the heart. And just taking a moment now to really arrive for your practice, to settle in and to press the pause button on absolutely everything. Using tapas, discipline, to give yourself this dedicated time for your practice now. And just meandering through your body with your mind's eye. Picking up any places in your body that might be feeling wound up or tense, or maybe holding fatigue or tightness today. And then also witnessing in your body where you're feeling the opposite way, where there might be a sense of vibrancy or openness or ease in your body. Just acknowledging that opposites are always present in the body and welcoming everything about how you are physically just as it is right now. Tuning into your breathing now, witnessing the texture of your breath, noticing if it's quite smooth or whether it's a little jagged. Noticing where you're naturally breathing to right now, noticing perhaps if the breath is high in the lungs or maybe it's feeling a little lower towards the belly perhaps, without judging anything, just witnessing the breath as it is. And then taking your next inhalation into the center of your chest and watching your breath expand in every direction. Noticing the little pause at the top of your inhalation. And then exhaling, drawing inwards and upwards through the body as you let go of the breath. Meeting the pause at the end of your exhalation. Breathing in again into the center of your chest, taking your breath in every direction. Observing the pause at the top of the inhale. And then exhaling again, having that sense of drawing inwards and upwards through the body as the breath leaves you. Meeting the pause at the end of your exhale again. We'll continue to breathe this way through our practice today. Not just noticing the movement of air in and out of your lungs, but also noticing the pauses that are there. These places where we get to drop into the quiet and stillness. It is always present for us as a resource that we can dip into whenever we choose to put our attention to slowing down the breath and being present with it. Let's bring the knees together now and bring your feet to the top of your bolster or pillow. Resting the hands by the side of the hips. We're just going to zigzag the knees side to side gently. Maybe you feel like lifting your feet up and bringing your knees closer into your chest. Maybe it's better to have your feet further away. Just follow your body's lead here. And then starting to make some circles in one direction. They might be really tiny, they might be broader. Let your body lead you. And then going back the opposite way. Coming back to center now, resting your feet on your bolster. Let's take our belts and we're going to pop the belt behind the left thigh. And take your right foot on top of your left knee. Let's lift that left foot up now, letting the foot just dangle and finding a little space between your lower back and the floor so the spine is in a neutral position. And returning to the breath, we're going to encourage the left thigh in towards the chest as you're breathing out. And as you're breathing in, imagine you can breathe directly into your right hip, releasing any tension or tightness you're holding in the right hip. By directing your breath there, merging the opposite sensations of tension and expansion. Soften the shoulders, soften the jaw. And then release your left foot to the bolster now. Let go of your belt and outstretch the arms. Take an inhalation there. And then as you exhale, let your right knee come towards the right side. You might choose to support your knee with your right hand and forearm, or you can let your knees come over. And we're resting the left foot on top of the bolster, coming into a lying twist. Perhaps you will gaze to the ceiling. Maybe it feels okay to roll your gaze to the left. Unwinding the spine now. Imagine that you're wringing out any tension that you're holding in the body, like you're wringing out a wet tea towel. Letting it droop away. Allowing the body to be invited closer and closer to the earth each time you're breathing out. Return to center again when you're ready. And then let's pop the belt behind the right thigh this time. And we'll take the left foot on top of the right knee. Lift the right foot up now and just take a moment to establish that neutral spine position again. A little space between the lower back and the floor. And then let's come right back to the breathing, guiding the right thigh into the chest as you're breathing out. And as you're breathing in, imagine you can breathe directly into your left hip, meeting any tension you're holding there with that expansive quality of the breath, meeting it with softness, merging opposite sensations. Wherever there's tension, we direct the breath there. And then releasing that right foot back to the bolster, let go of the belt and outstretch your arms. Take a breath in here, and then we'll drop the knees towards the left side. Again, you might choose to support your left knee with your hand and forearm, or if it feels okay, you can invite the knees further over to the left. And choosing where you might direct your gaze now, to the ceiling or to the right if your neck is comfortable. And again, having that perspective of wringing out the spine each time you're breathing out, letting all of your breath go. Easing out any tension you're holding in your body and in your mind, breathing it out. Returning to center now when you're ready. And let's release that left foot. We can put the belt to the side now. And we'll lengthen out down the middle of the mat, setting up for banana pose. So let's just spread the fingers out either side of your thighs, and if you're not quite in the middle, you will notice that when you do this. So bring yourself to the middle of the mat if you're not there already. And then let's lift the head and the shoulders up. Bring these to the right edge of the mat, leaving your hips in the middle nice and even. And then we'll walk the feet over to the right edge of the mat as well. Now you can either rest your left foot on your right ankle or leave your feet side by side. And if this feels like too much for you, you could also just leave your legs in the middle of the mat and make this lateral movement just about the upper body. With the left hand, we can leave that by the hip, or we could take it out to the side, or you might even trace the floor overhead with your fingers. And bringing a little movement to the head just to work out where your neck wants to be now, and then inching the fingers of the right hand towards the knee. Arriving in whatever version of banana pose feels best for you today. And if you're feeling any tension across your shoulders or your left shoulder is lifting, you might lower your arm down a little. We want to see if we can keep evenness through the weight of the shoulders and through the weight of the pelvis as we're taking this lateral movement. And when we open the body up in lateral stretches, we're energetically giving ourselves the opportunity to release whatever isn't serving you. Even if you can't quite define that in your thinking brain. These things that don't serve us are sometimes hard to put a label on. But by making the shapes that we do in yoga, the body is taking over and releasing what it doesn't need to hold on to. Breathing it out of the body. Take one more round of breath here. And then let's release the arm back down by the side of the hip. Bring your feet back to the middle. And last of all, bring the head and the shoulders to the middle of the mat and just rest. Close your eyes and observe your body as it is right now. Perhaps the left side of your body is feeling a little larger or more vibrant or lighter as we've been directing prana through the left side. Maybe the right side feels a little quieter or darker. Or maybe you are feeling something entirely different, but whatever sensations are present, just observing them as they are. And then let's take our banana pose to the other side. Again, we'll lift the head and the shoulders, bringing these to the left edge of the mat. Maybe leaving your feet as they are, if that's enough of a lateral movement for you. Or if you want to, you could walk your feet to the left edge of the mat as well. Either leaving them side by side or resting your right foot on your left ankle. With your right hand, you could leave it by the hip, or you could take it out to the side, or perhaps take it overhead. And again, a little movement for your head just to place the neck well. inching the fingers of the left hand towards the knee. And just tuning into your shoulders again, perhaps lowering the arm a little if that's going to help weight your shoulders more evenly. Even through the pelvis, opening up the side body. And just trusting that your system knows what to release, that it knows what isn't serving you. And by just being in this shape, you're letting go of some of the things that are winding you up and creating stagnant energy in the body. In your own time, you can release your arm back down, and then we'll bring the feet back to the middle of the mat. Last of all, the head and the shoulders to the middle of the mat. Stopping here, again, just observing the breath. And just observing the body as it is right now. Let's bend the knees now, setting up for desk pose. And today we're going to integrate desk pose and Apanasana. So bringing these two movements into a very short, repetitive sequence. Initially, let's find a little space between the feet and press into the 3 points of support in your feet, under the big toe, under the pinky, and under the heel of each foot. When we're lifting into the shape, we want to try and recruit the feet, the calves, the thighs, the abdominal wall, using all of it to support us in the movement so that we're not overtaxing the lower back. Let's breathe in now. Lift the hips and the chest into the air. You might take your arms overhead or wide. Begin your exhale and then roll all the way down. Lift your feet off the mat. Breathe in here. And then as you exhale, bring your knees into your chest. Release your feet down to the mat. Breathe in, lifting the hips and the chest into the air. The arms overhead or wide. Start to breathe out. Roll yourself right down. Lift your feet off the mat as you breathe in, and as you exhale, bring your knees into your chest. Releasing the feet again. So continuing with this, aiming to be as steady and even as you can as you lift into the shape and release back down. And not getting ahead of the breath with the movement, letting the breath set the pace for all the movement that you take. Making this one your final round. And then let's roll over and we'll come up onto hands and knees, setting up in cat pose now. You might like something soft under your knees now and have your block at the top of your mat. So softening into the elbows in cat pose, lengthening from the crown to the tailbone. Let's breathe in here. And as you exhale, move to cow pose, tucking the chin and tailbone under. Return to cat again, lifting your gaze. And then on exhale, moving to child's pose, letting all your breath go. Returning to cat again, breathing in. Exhaling to cow pose, belly into the spine, chin to chest. Coming back to cat as you breathe in, lifting the gaze. And then exhaling to child's pose, let all your breath go. Take one more round. Cat cow, cat child. And when you arrive in your child's pose this time, let's take the knees as wide as is comfortable for you. And we're going to bring the head down to the block or down to your mat. And you might even choose to have your block on a higher edge if that's more comfortable for you. And repositioning your hands so that your shoulders are feeling at ease. And as we let the weight of the forehead drop into the third eye, we're triggering the nervous system to really settle down, allowing for the release of oxytocin, that beautiful feel-good hormone, to be invited through the body, soothing everything. And this is a really wonderful position to remember if you have trouble calming down or sleeping. Intentionally weighting the head into the third eye, between and above the brows, is what really helps this one. In your own time, let's thread the right arm through and under the left arm. We're going to rest the right side of the face down on the block. And you might inch the fingers of your left hand towards the top end of your mat now. Opening up space between the shoulder blades, breathing into that, breathing into the side ribs, and inviting your tailbone just a little closer to the earth. And then we'll untangle and take this the opposite way, so threading your left arm through and under your right. And you might choose to inch your fingers on the left hand towards the top edge of the mat, breathing into the space between the shoulder blades, into the side ribs. Inviting the tailbone closer to the earth. And then when you're ready, let's untangle again, return to cat pose. Just taking a few rounds now of cat-cow to invite symmetry back into the body, following those undulations of the spine in movement. And when you next return to cat pose, we'll meet there. And then walk your hands back towards your knees. And let's come to a seated position now. As I said at the beginning, you might like to be in a chair if that is more comfortable than being on the mat. You might prop yourself up on your block. You might have a meditation cushion like I do. Fortunately today I don't have a cat sitting on it, so that's always helpful for me. So just getting yourself comfortable and arranging your spine with length. Sensing the crown floating over the heart floating over the tailbone over the earth. Soften the shoulders. And just let your hands rest on your thighs. We'll let the palms face the ceiling now, and we'll bring the index finger to the thumb tip on both hands, keeping the other fingers soft in Gyan Mudra. Taking this position with the hands, this mudra, is about connecting our consciousness to the greater consciousness, plugging us in a very real way to the life force that sustains all of us, drawing on a greater energy when we're feeling a little depleted ourselves, recharging. Witnessing the 4 parts of your breath again, present in the pauses in your breathing as well as the movements of your breath. And if it feels okay to do so, ever so slightly closing off the back of your throat as you breathe in and as you breathe out, creating a hushing, whispering sensation to the breath. This is our ocean breath, or ujjayi. It's almost like listening through a seashell, barely audible, and helping us to smooth out and lengthen the breath a little more. And putting a count to your breathing now, allowing your inhalations and your exhalations to go to the count of 4. The pauses in between, just these little landing places, just these brief moments. And when you come to your next exhalation, lengthening that out to 6 beats. So breathing in for 4, breathing out for 6. And the pauses in between, just moments where you land. The breath smooth like a filament of silk as it moves into the lungs and out of the lungs. And you might even linger now in the pause after your exhalation. Maybe extending that pause to 2 or even 3 beats. See what feels comfortable for you. And after you finish this round of breath, allowing that pause after your exhale to just come back to being a moment. And then we'll bring the length of the exhalation back as well, so that we return to the inhalation and the exhalation being the same length. And releasing the ocean breathing, the Ujjayi breath now. The breath moving freely. And bringing your hands to Anjali Mudra at the heart. Setting an intention for today to find moments to return to observing the breath, to being present in all aspects of your breathing, so that you can dip into that resource of quiet, of stillness that is always there for you. Breathing out the things that don't serve you and making space for the things that do. Allowing the mind and the body to unwind, to let go, and to be nourished. Thank you for practicing with me today. Take care now. Namaste.